My name is Philip Harrelson. I'd like to welcome you back again to the Barnabas study, and just spending some time paying some tribute thoughts to Brother Harrell and some of his preaching. In the previous video, I mentioned to you about this little booklet that Sister Paula had put together and that she sent to me, again in terrible shape. I've had it probably 18, 19 years now, maybe even 20 years. But I did mention that there were some things where that Brother Harrell would kind of work in series. One of those from 1992, Strongholds in the Church, Strongholds of the Mind. That was a couple of sermons that he did. There was another part I mentioned where that he would take his favorite sermons and he would preach those. And so in 1994, here are the favorite sermons. When God Smiles. Number 2, When Jesus Sighed. Number 3, The Day I Declared My Dependence. Number 4, The Seed by the Wayside. Number 5, Three Precious Things. Number 6, Doubting Our Doubts. Number 7, Power to See Life Through. Number 8, You Can't Carry Your Own Cross. That was one of the most awesome messages, in my opinion. And I did the top 5, I thought, on my blog here back in 2011 at his 40th anniversary. But that sermon, You Can't Carry Your Own Cross. There's another sermon that he picked, that he chose, or that he preached. It's not in his favorite sermons, but this one was You Can't Choose Your Own Cross. Both of those messages, again, if you can track them down, it's to your advantage. Number 9, Supposing Him to be the Gardener. Number 10, Long Ropes Need Strong Stakes. Number 11, Oh Consistency, Thou Art a Jewel. And then number 12, I Will Love You Tomorrow. Another series that he did in 1994, he did 8 messages on the life of David. That was and he told me about that. I did not have I don't have those tapes because those were, I guess, not able to get through. He continued that in 1995, and he finished up and he ended up preaching 17 sermons there in the life of David. There was another series that he did on the life of Peter, and number 5 was the tears of Peter. And I didn't highlight those on the ones of Peter's life, but he did preach a number of sermons on the life of Peter as well. I mentioned yesterday, or one of the previous videos, about F.B. Meyer, his little study on the life of Peter. That's in that book. And I failed to mention yesterday as well, F.B. Meyer also had one on the life of Moses. And that was a very good series or a little book to have. And I over sometimes they're in the summer months, what I would do here in Dothan, I preached through the life of Elijah. I say preached through his life. Took about 13, 14 sermons on Elijah. Preached another 12 or 13 sermons on the life of David. Preached 4 sermons on the life of Moses, and then had a health crisis. He ended up having to have open heart surgery, and I know better. It's in my genetics. Here I am, the guy that works in a cath lab, seen hundreds of cath lab or of coronary arteries blocked off, and then I worked at Texas Heart Institute in Houston, and we were doing anywhere from 20 to 30 open hearts a day. Wrap your mind around that. Worked in a 55-bed CVICU, and I ended up having open heart surgery while I was preaching through the life of Moses, and I need to go back and pick that up and start back over again. But the character studies, I got my idea to do that from Brother Harrell, and so Moses, Let's see, I did preach some messages on Peter's life during COVID, whenever everything was shut down. And again, a stimulation. I just can't tell you that Brother Harrell's impact on me personally just kind of stimulates your mind toward thinking. And I'm going to say this about preaching. If you think that all of a sudden it's just going to drop out of the sky and fall on you, that's not going to happen. I'll tell a story sometimes whenever I'm doing the preaching seminars in our district license seminar. I heard this story about old Pastor Bob, and Pastor Bob got into a rough spot, and he got tied up. His week got tied up, and the pastors know you spend a lot of time reacting to situations. And so he had a week, ended up that just everything got out of control, weddings, funerals, etc., so forth, and he didn't have time to put anything together. So he gets in there on Sunday, and he's on the front row, and he said, God, you got to help me. You got to give me a word. Please give me a word. And so the Lord gave him a word, and he got up and he preached. The house, I mean, it was on fire. They told him it was one of the most awesome messages they've ever heard him preach in his life. So the next week, similar set of circumstances. And Pastor Bob, again, Sunday morning, gets there. Lord, you got to help me. You got to help me. And so anyways, the Lord helped him again. Well, the third week, he thought, you know what? He said, I like this pretty good. So he spent the week fishing. And he got there Sunday morning, like, Lord, you saw what happened this week. I need you to really come through for me. And the Lord did. And the fourth week, he decided, you know what, this is working too well. So he went and he spent the whole week playing golf. He gets in there and he tells the Lord in desperation, Lord, please, you got to help me. And the Lord does, comes through, incredible message that he preaches. So he thought, you know what, I really have enjoyed this. And so the fifth week, he spent that fifth week just kind of goofing off, laying around, whatever. And so he got in there on Sunday morning, and Pastor Bob is in desperation again. Lord, please, you got to give me a word. And the Lord said to him, he said, I tell you what, Bob, I got a word for you. He said, you're lazy. I want you just to get in there and do the best you can do. And I think that that's probably the case with good preaching. If you're going to do good preaching, it's going to be hard work. That's one of the things that's now standing, that Brother Harrell worked hard at preaching. I'm sure there were distractions and things he had to deal with, but I think sometimes, especially Pentecostal preachers, we feel like it's got to drop out. You got to have a word. You got to have a word. Well, when you're looking at the Word of God and you're studying, you're getting that word, and I think that there ought to be adequate preparation that goes along with that. By the same token, I'm against longhorn sermons, and I don't know if you know what longhorn sermons are, but a longhorn sermon is a sermon that's got 2 points and a lot of bull in between it. And we don't want to be guilty of preaching longhorn sermons. And so whenever I look at what Brother Harrell gave here in 1996, another series, Messages of Comfort. Number 1, healing in his wings. Number 2, Jesus is so approachable. Number 3, the foothill principle. Number 4, I mentioned earlier, you can face into the storm. Number 5, branded by the marks of Jesus. Number 6, chains. Number 7, messages of the storms of not yet. And number 8, light sown. Number 9, the Father is with me. Number 10, mysteries that defy explanation. And again, you look at this and you just see that Brother Harrell just worked hard at preaching. And so again, I hope this has kind of been an encouragement to you. And I'm trying not to go too long, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you some other things that maybe will encourage you as well. And so until then, thanks for stopping by, and the Lord bless you.